Our next guest needs no introduction. He's been acting for years and has been a staple on the big screen. Joining me now is Richard Lawson. Richard, thank you for being here.
My pleasure, man. It's great to be here.
You are here in the flesh, sir.
Yes, sir, I am. Admiring your styling. It's wonderful. It's
thank
really
you so much. Wow, to hear
crisp.
thank you. To hear from Mr. Lawson, look at that. Okay, thank you so much, Richard. We appreciate that. You know, before we begin with your current projects, we know that you've been acting for years. But when did you realize that this was something that you wanted to do?
Well, you know, when I came back from Vietnam in 1969.
Oh, thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you very much. I got out 3 months early to go to college, and the only college I could get into was a junior college. And so I went there. I wanted to be a lawyer. I went to the speech department to join the debate team. It turns out, make a long story short, this woman heard my voice, loved my voice, asked me to get into Reader's Theater. I did. It was like hugely successful. Audience loved what I was doing. She got me in forensics. It's competitional speech. I was state champion, undefeated for 2 years.
Check that out.
And
okay.
Then the drama coach asked me to do this musical called Golden Boy, and I did that. And on my birthday in 1970, I was singing March 7th, I was singing the final song, I Ain't Bowing Down. I ain't bowing down. I ain't bowing down. Joe Wellington, the fighter, he's not gonna give up, right? In the middle of that song, I had a revelation, an epiphany. God said, this is what I put you here to do. Clear, it was clear as could be.
Wow.
And someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, sing the song. And I went back and I sang it like I've never sang before. And so I realized my purpose on that day. And from that day to this day, I've been on vacation.
And I like how you said been on vacation. This is because you love what you're doing and you're not working?
I love what I'm doing.
Okay.
So it's my purpose, it's my mission, and it's the thing that I love to do. It's not a vocation. It is a vocation because I get paid for it, but that's the least of the thing. So therefore, then my acting and things that I do in terms of what comes to me in terms of acting really is the platform for ministry to empower people to achieve their dreams.
So was it difficult starting off to find key roles or even key positions?
Well, listen, 1969, when you look across the landscape of film, there was Sidney Poitier, there was Diane Carroll, and there was Bill Cosby. They had their shows, and ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. Fox came later. It was PBS, and then Fox came later. And so it was a wasteland in terms of possibilities. I recognized early on that I needed to create my own opportunities. I realized what the business was, and I realized that the business wasn't necessarily in favor of me being number one on the call sheet. I knew I had to do that for myself. So I didn't waste time worried about what the business wasn't doing for me. It was like I had to originate my own thing. And I understood then that I had to create my own dream. I had to sit down and figure out what it is that I wanted, because I understood why I was doing it. So what it is I needed to do was always been really kind of clear for me. And so even back then I was producing my own stuff, doing my own plays.
And this is before that became a popular thing for people to be individualized.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Wow. And I was fortunate enough to have a mentor that believed in that, and that was his philosophy. Mentorship is everything. Everything we get in life, we get because somebody else has shared it with us, has provided the opportunity to see something beyond our zip code.
Right.
Whatever that zip code is, whether it's your mind, you're locked in your own space, or where you live. Somebody's got to show you that there's something on the other side of that.
Speaking of mentorship, you spent a few days at SC State.
I did.
Speaking with students, tell us about that.
I did. my sweetheart, Ursula Robinson, who played Miss Linda in Divorce in the Black. I love her so much. She's just such a life force. She's a professor at South Carolina State. And, you know, and people know who she is here. You know, she's become famous down here.
Oh, she is definitely a homegirl over here.
She's a whole vibe.
Yeah, a whole vibe.
She's a whole vibe.
Yes, she is.
I love you, but she's a whole vibe, right? But so she provided the opportunity for me to go down there and do a 2-day seminar, a masterclass. And I really come away from that just so inspired to continue because of the fact that it was so effective. I was able to touch young people and faculty alike because of the fact that what my whole thing is based in terms of what is your dream? Are you living your dream? Are you connected to your North Star, which is your purpose? And it's so interesting that even faculty members who got a job and became good at it was not living in their purpose and they weren't following their dream. This is what they wound up doing.
But it's not necessarily what they would love to do.
It's not what they love to do. A lot of kids are going to college because their parents said, you need to go to college and you need to study this. Your father was a doctor, your grandfather was a doctor, father was a doctor, you need to be a doctor. And that may not be the thing that you love and that you want to do. It's how you're going to make a living. Now, making a living is important. Right. But following your dream, your plan A, is the deal. That is real, that is true satisfaction and tranquil, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Serenity.
Brings you at that state of peace for yourself. So when it comes to acting, obviously we're talking years now.
55.
55 years.
I've touched 7 decades. The 60s.
Right.
When I started, 70s, 80s, 90s, that's 7 decades.
Look at you. Right? That's incredible. So with all these decades, what stands out the most to you as an actor? Is there one particular memory that's like, wow, boom, this is something I won't forget as an actor?
I won't forget the journey. It's the journey. It's the struggles. It's the challenges. It's the it's in terms of having a dream, and it's an empty, it's a barren desert. And it's in terms of what you have to put in place because you believe, the risks that you have to take. Instead of waiting until the time is right, you go. You go. The wrong way is the right way. You know, Isaac Newton said, the bodies in motion tend to stay in motion. Bodies at rest tend to stay at rest. I've always been in motion. And sometimes I went the wrong way, but then I was able to say, hey, excuse me, is this the right way to New York? No, I'm sorry, you're in Mexico. Oh, that way. And I can reroute. But I'm in motion going towards that thing that I believe in rather than trying to wait till it's right or trying to wait till somebody gives me permission to do it. You know what I mean? No has always been a motivator for me. Tell me no. No. Turns me on. Turns me on. Because of the fact that it's like, it's not just that I'm not gonna, it's not just I'm gonna show you and the reason I'm motivated is because I'm gonna prove to you. It's, I'm connecting and making sure that I never give up on myself. Follow my dream, you know what I mean? Because the harder it gets, I understand that I'm closer and closer to where I wanna go. The challenge is gonna equal the desire.
The challenge is going to equal the desire.
Exactly. The challenge is going to meet you. You know, it's like a great story. You have to have a great protagonist. You have to have find a protagonist who has something compelling that they want. Yeah. And your antagonist will have an equally an opposite compelling reason to stop you. Those two things are equal all the way to the top.
Ooh, I could be in a master class with you. I could see it's coming. I mean, this is definitely what you do. You're currently a main cast member in Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. You play Norman.
I play Norman. Somebody killed my wife. Somebody who killed my wife.
How did you? Okay, for those who may not know, we know it's like one of the #1 shows now on Netflix.
Yeah.
But for those who don't know, what is
Globally.
beauty? Yeah, that's a big thing globally.
That's a big thing.
Kudos to
which
you all.
proves that black product sells everywhere, which they, were hoodwinked for years thinking that black product didn't sell outside the United States.
But look at it now.
Look at it now.
Wow. So for those who don't know, Beauty in Black, what is it about? And you play Norman. Who is Norman?
Well, Beauty in Black is a collision of Game of Thrones and Dynasty.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Game of Thrones because somebody is always gonna get killed or gonna have tragic ending. It's like wild. So you have this super rich family who don't know how to love because it's greed, it's avarice, it's jealousy, it's power, it's control. You know what I mean? And this family is in this claustrophobic space, and it's like they're in bumper cars, just crashing and into each other. Wanting to be the boss, wanting to make sure that they get their share of that will that the grandfather left. And Norman and Horace are brothers, and they're the two mainstays of the family. And they hate each other. They hate each other. And Horace is the oldest, and he has the control. And my character is diabolical, and that is activated because somebody killed my wife.
And you just went down from there.
And man, I'm finding. And
who touched my baby and killed your baby?
And it had to be a family member because we live on a secluded piece of property with a private road that no one else can get on. And she was killed on the private road. So it's one of y'all. Who did it? Who killed my wife? And everybody's saying, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But he's diabolical.
Wow, I mean, it's getting so many rave reviews. So many different people are talking about it. It's a global hit now. And also, we have to talk about Debbie Morgan. The chemistry between you two, it's very obvious.
Yes, I love Debbie. Debbie loves me. We've been friends she's been married 4 times, and she has an incredible book that she wrote about just in terms of trauma from marriages and men, and she's in her 4th marriage, and her Jeff is a lovely man, but she had 3 marriages that were failed marriages, and her mother and it was generational trauma, right? So she wrote this book, but we've been friends forever. Then she's played my wife like 4 times. And each time, like Divorce in the Black, I think the model of that family and the love that they showed their daughter and the protection and understanding in Divorce in the Black is an iconic black couple, black family. It's kind of like the Cosbys. She and I should be doing, a series where it's about a family and it's about dealing with family issues and about 2 loving people and how they negotiate their life with their family and their children and their grandchildren and all of that. That's going to happen one day.
Yeah.
But we have an incredible chemistry together.
That's
really it's sort of like, me and Debbie, when they get on stage, people come around because they know it's a classic Frazier Ali.
There you go. You're going to get something good.
You're going to get a good one because we got some scenes, man, coming up. It's like unbelievable.
People are going to have to watch for that a little bit more. Mr. Lawson, Richard, before you leave, okay, you also have Richard Lawson Studios.
Yes.
And there's a book too. Talk to us about your book, buddy.
The Artist's Roadmap, Navigating Your Way in Show Business. 2 different things. Being an accomplished artist is one thing. The business of being that is another thing. You cannot just be a good actor. You have to know how to monetize it, right? And so therefore, it's like you see people who have brands now and they come out with, they have 3 and 4, you have to be diversified. You have to be slashes, you know what I mean?
You're right.
You have to be able to do more than one thing, because look at the industry now is in a regression. The work, it's hard, they're not doing that many films. I just saw something this morning on internet, IG, where somebody interviewed people in the business, and people are losing their homes and they're not doing as many things as going to AI. AI is trying to replace actors and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, what I recognize from the business side is that I can't wait on Tyler Perry to call me, or Carl Weber to call me, or NBC or ABC or anybody else. But I have knowledge. And let me put these knowledge in books and then go talk about it and speak about it and create my own, do my own films. This book is more than just about acting. It's about processing and how do you survive this business. It's a roller coaster. Lou Gossett told me, you're going to be discovered 15 times. And he's right. You're going to be in, you're going to be out. You're going to be in, you're going to be out. But you got to be able to survive it, and you have to be able to process, pivot, and proceed.
Process, pivot, and proceed.
That's the title of my memoir. Process, pivot, and proceed.
Wow.
And you have to have radical acceptance. You got to understand what's happening to you and pivot and move on. You got to accept it to be able to move on. You can't sit there and be a victim.
How do we get in contact with you? Someone who's watching right now, they want to get in contact with Richard Lawson, want to get this book, and even want to take part of the Richard Lawson Studios. How do they find you?
At Mr. Richard Lawson, or studio.richardlawson.net. Go through IG and you can find me, or Google me. I come up and you'll see all the truth, and and the lies are gonna come up too.
Of course, it's show business. You're gonna have both. You're gonna have both.
Hey, look, if you choose to get on this platform, you understand that you got a target right here, and you just got to be able to receive and pull it out and proceed. You know what I mean? Let it make you stronger.
I like that. Let it make you stronger. Richard Lawson, thank you so much for stopping by here at the WACH Fox Studios. We appreciate it, sir. Thank you for all that you do.
My pleasure.
And for more information, of course, to get in contact with Richard Lawson, we have that information on our website at watch.com.